You think you're making your own choices. Every morning you tell yourself, today's different. You're going to speak up in that meeting. Set boundaries with your boss. Be authentic with your family. But then, you fold. Again, you say what keeps the peace, what makes you likable, what doesn't rock the boat, and you hate yourself for it. Here's the brutal part. You think it's a willpower problem. Like, if you just tried harder, you'd finally be free to say what you mean. But every year that passes, you're more trapped, more rehearsed, more fake. Your real thoughts stay locked in your head while your mouth runs a script written by fear. And it's getting worse. So, what if I told you freedom is the problem? That chasing it is what's actually caging you? There's one tool that gives you control, real control, but it's not what you think. Look, the enemy here isn't your weakness. It's the fetish of freedom. Modern culture sold you a lie. Be yourself. Do what feels right. Follow your passion. Express your truth. Beautiful words, deadly advice, because while everyone's out there finding themselves, they're sleepwalking through scripts written by their past, their biology, their childhood trauma. Here's what actually happens in your brain. You are not free from your neural wiring. Your internal settings, the deep programs running under consciousness, were installed before you turned 5. You are not free from your culture. Your language literally shapes what you can think. Some thoughts don't exist in your vocabulary, and you are definitely not free from your needs. Hunger, fear, status anxiety, these run the show. Russian psychologist Andrei Kurpatov spent years studying this. Not with college students, with billionaires, oligarchs, the Russian elite, people with infinite money, infinite power, the ones who should be self-actualized according to Maslow's famous pyramid. You know, get rich, get free, become altruistic, change the world. The reality? Without social hierarchies forcing discipline, total freedom turned them into degenerates. More money equals more chaos. More options equals more misery. Kurpatov treated these people like specimens in a zoo, and what he found flipped everything we believe about freedom. So here's the counterintuitive truth that nobody wants to hear. You don't need more freedom. You need to accept your non-freedom to gain actual control. And the only leverage you have, it's not willpower, it's speech, but not the way you think. Step 1. The Determinism Acceptance Protocol. Stop fighting for authentic self-expression. Because here's the thing. There is no authentic self waiting to be discovered inside you. That's a myth sold by the self-help industry. You are a biological machine running code written by evolution, your childhood, and 10,000 repetitions. Your brain doesn't make decisions, it justifies them. The decision happens in the deep, ancient systems. Then your prefrontal cortex, the CEO, makes up a story about why you chose that. So here's the tool. For the next 7 days, before any important conversation, say this out loud. I am not free. My brain was built by my past. My desires are not mine. Sounds depressing, right? It's not. It's liberation. Because when you stop pretending you're choosing authentically, you start seeing the actual mechanism driving your words. You see the pattern, the loop, the script, and once you see it, you can edit it. But here's where it gets dangerous. If you're not free, who's controlling your words? Step 2. The Speech Relation Audit. Most people think speech is for getting thoughts out, like your brain has ideas trapped inside and talking releases them. Wrong. Speech is a binding contract. It's not yours. It's not theirs. It's the wire connecting you. Every sentence you speak, you're signing something, creating an obligation, building a structure, and most people never audit this. They spend 40 years building relationships they hate, one sentence at a time. So here's the exercise. During your next 3 conversations, work, family, doesn't matter. Pause mid-sentence and ask yourself, what obligation am I taking on by saying this? What relationship structure is this sentence building? Example, your boss asks you to stay late. You say, yeah, no problem. Seems harmless, but run the audit. What obligation did you just take on? You signed a contract to be the always available person. What relationship structure did you build? Subordination, the person who bends? This sentence isn't about tonight, it's about who you're becoming. Here's why this works. Mirror neurons fire when you speak. Your brain physically binds you to the social contract you create. Speech equals neural commitment. You're not just talking. You're wiring yourself into a role. And if you don't choose that role consciously, someone else will choose it for you. They'll choose the one that benefits them, not you. Step 3, the discourse constraint hack. Now, here's the part that sounds like philosophy, but it's actually brain science. You don't choose your words freely. Your words are constrained by discourse, the invisible structure of what's sayable in your culture, your job, your family. Some things just aren't done. Some sentences feel impossible to say, not because they're illegal, because they violate the discourse you're swimming in. But here's the hack. You can't escape discourse, but you can choose which constraints to accept. Try this. Pick one recurring situation where you feel powerless. Maybe your boss dismisses your ideas in meetings. Write down your default script. Probably something like, maybe you're right, I'll think about it. Now, reframe it using a different discourse structure. Obligation-based. I'm committed to this approach. Let's revisit in 2 weeks with data. Question-based. What evidence would change your mind on this? Test each version in real life. Watch what happens. The content is similar, but the relationship structure shifts entirely. Because discourse creates neural pathways. When you repeatedly use, maybe you're right, discourse, you strengthen submission wiring in your brain. Switching discourse? You're rewiring the relationship at the neural level. And here's what nobody tells you. If you don't choose your constraints, you inherit the default ones, the ones designed to keep you quiet, compliant, safe. Step 4, the Maslow reversal test. Let's talk about the biggest lie in psychology, Maslow's hierarchy. You've seen the pyramid. Bottom, food, shelter, safety. Top, self-actualization, becoming your best self. The theory? Once you get rich and powerful, you naturally become altruistic. You help others. You create art. You self-actualize. Beautiful theory? Completely wrong. Kurpatov's data from the Russian elite proves it. Get rich, get free, get degraded. Why? Because humans don't self-actualize without constraints. We dissolve. Social obligations aren't chains. They're scaffolding. Remove the scaffolding, the building collapses. So here's the test. List 5 people you have no social obligation to. People your wealth or power or independence makes you immune from. Now list 5 people you're bound to. Family, team, community. Track your behavior with both groups over 2 weeks. Simple question. With which group are you more disciplined, more honest, more useful? It's the bound group, every time. Because social hierarchies trigger oxytocin and reduce cortisol. Obligations equal chemical stability in your brain. Total freedom equals no oxytocin. Trigger equals behavioral chaos. Look around. The free people on Instagram, the ones with no boss, no schedule, no obligations, are falling apart. You're building something real. Step 5, the self-actualization. Redefinition. So what is self-actualization? Not finding yourself. That's the myth that keeps you searching forever. Real self-actualization is realizing what you're saying and why. It's becoming conscious of the relationship structures you're building with your speech. Here's the final tool, the weekly speech autopsy. Every Sunday, review 3 conversations from the week. For each one, answer. 1. What did I say? 2. What relationship did that speech create? 3. Did I choose this constraint consciously, or was I on autopilot? If you were on autopilot, and you will be most of the time, rewrite it. Write the sentence you should have said to build the relationship you actually want. Not the relationship that's easiest. The one you want. Here's the science. This is metacognition. Thinking about thinking. It activates the anterior cingulate cortex, your brain's pattern interrupt system. By reviewing speech after the fact, you train yourself to catch it during the fact. And slowly, conversation by conversation, you stop being a puppet to your programming. You start choosing your chains. And that's the only freedom that exists. You're not trying a communication hack here. You're becoming someone who sees the matrix, while everyone else is chasing the illusion of freedom, trapped by their biology, their discourse, their past. You're engineering the only variable you actually control, the structure of your relationships through speech. You are not a free thinker. You are a speech architect. You don't express yourself. You build bonds, consciously, deliberately, one sentence at a time. And when you do this, something strange happens. The people around you start treating you differently. Not because you're more confident, not because you're more assertive, because you're structurally different. Your speech creates different obligations, different hierarchies, different realities. This is how you reclaim agency in a deterministic world, not by being free, but by choosing which chains to wear. Freedom is a fairy tale sold to make you buy more, try more, fail more. Control is accepting the cage and choosing which bars to hold. Speech is your only tool. Use it like a weapon, not a megaphone.